from some of them. But I just wanted to open the event by welcoming you guys and giving you a sense of what to expect from today. So, who can tell me what is the name of the movie we're going to be seeing this evening? What's that? That's right, Stars, Feel My Pain by B.O.M.B Network and team. And I'm excited because this film it's about an issue that we feel it's one of those things that affect people somewhere else in the world, not Jamaica. But this is going to tackle an issue that we want to shed more light on, and you're going to hear some more about it. We have some experts in the house who will be talking about the issue of human trafficking. We have psychologists on site as well. I just want to acknowledge or what we call, let me just make sure I'm using the right terminology. But essentially, we want to make sure that even anyone who might be here who may be so deeply affected by any of the things that they're going to see today, we want to let you know that we have you covered. We have a psychologist on our team who will be here. Her name is Christina and she's our crowd support psychologist. So I just want to acknowledge Christina in the house. We also have a panel discussion coming up. Can you imagine? It's not just about showing a film, but we're going to go into a time of having a discussion because we want to engage you guys. We want to hear from you, and I'm so glad that audience is mixed. We have a wide range of all ages and backgrounds, and it's great because we need to get the conversation going amongst those who are adults as well as those who are youth. And so it's good to see all the different people. So you're going to be hearing from our panelists this evening. You've also been watching some other short films. Did you enjoy the one you just saw? Wasn't that powerful? The name of it is Visualizing Lies, and it was the April 2019 short film winner. It's from Art with Impact. Art with Impact. And so this film it's a visual poem, as you can, if you can recall, it was a poem being spoken. And so it was a visual poem tackling the difficult topics of depression, anxiety, and overall mental health, with the goal to help end that stigma of, oh, I don't talk about if I am depressed or if I have mental challenges. No, we want to encourage people to talk more about it, to normalize conversations, because that's how we get help, right? And all of us have battled with this anxiety, feeling down sometimes. Of course, with depression, you have clinical depression, which is more severe, but you have just those moments of just feeling low. And so when we have forums like these, it gives us a chance to shed more light and to normalize talking about these things, right? So those are some of the things that we have on the agenda for this evening. We are just waiting on our first speaker. He's going to be opening the floor. That's Stewie. We all affectionately call him Stewie. And he is the brain, the mastermind behind this story that we're going to see, as well as he's the man in charge at B.O.M.B Network. And so we want to give some time for Stu to come and welcome you guys officially. But for now, again, I just want to say thank you again for being here, for waiting patiently, and give us just a couple more minutes before we officially jumpstart everything. All right? Thank you.
Thank you for welcoming me, Stephanie. But, still tell you the showroom right now. Can you tell us about your fashion that you're wearing? You look so beautiful, representing women. Show us what you're wearing, please.
Well, sure, why not? I wasn't ready, but this is actually a piece by a local designer called Jan. She's Jan's Accents, and she's actually located on Hope Road. So thank you, Roseanne, for the opportunity to shout out Jan. So yes, you can get pieces like these at Jan's Accents.
Thank you. Seven. One show, another show.
All right, so we're going to go into another film in the meantime. All right. So we're actually going to go ahead and start. And I'm going to introduce at this time Roseanne. She is the assistant producer. She's going to come and tell you a little bit more about her role, but we're going to hear from her and what this process has been like to do this film, what the motivation behind this was, why did they decide to do a film like this, and then we'll take it from there. So let's welcome Roseanne. Roseanne is wearing many hats, as you can see. Give her another clap, please.
Thank you very much, Miss Stephanie. Thank you, thank you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you guys for your utmost patience. We're having a bit difficulties, but thank you guys very much for supporting us. All right, my name is Roseanne Lawrence, and I'm an assistant producer to B.O.M.B Network and also to Reggae TV, as you guys saw on the screens here. Okay? My role is that I assist and fill in the best way I can to keep the production going. As you guys see that I've been doing right now as about to start the show. Stars was wonderful. I had an amazing time doing it. And we have basically some of the stars here from Scars basically waited. I'm gonna try my best to shout them out, even though they're giving me eyes. They don't want to be on stage or up here right now. But all right. I also starred in Scars. I played a sister to one of the stars here, Teresa. Well, she was here. And yeah, and it was really interesting. The film is to open eyes about human trafficking, even though us Jamaicans claim that we don't have human trafficking here, we don't have kidnapping and all of that. But we do have it here in Jamaica as well. And so this is to open your eyes that, hey, it's happening overseas, it's happening in India, it's happening everywhere. And even though we like to say, oh, it's only women are getting human trafficked, no, not only women, it's not only girls, boys are happening to boys as well. So we need to open our eyes and look around and also be an ally to anyone that you feel is in danger. Anyone that you assume that something bad is happening to them, open your eyes and say, hey, let me be an ally, let me help. Because you might be saving someone's life, or you might be opening up a big case, you know, you might be the detective of that. So basically that's what Scar is about. And Scars, even though Scars is a series, supposed to be a series, but it's going to be a series, thank to God, it's going to be a series. We want to show you guys the first draft of it, alright? So I'm going to try to show up some of our stars here. The bad woman, big, big bad human trafficker. We will shout out for Alicia, the bad woman. Come on, shout out. And if you guys don't know, Alisa here, she stars in a lot of shows and she tends to play bad girl in the shows. I don't know why, but in real life, she's so sweet. Can't you earth of life?
Hi everyone, thank you for coming out. This is a big turnout and it shows how many people are interested in mental health, interested in the pain that others are going through. And it's a hard time, but I'm glad to see the turnout. Yes, I was a human trafficker, so mind you, if you don't have any feelings after the film, based on what we do, and I'm what others are going through, because even though it may not happen to you in that moment, it could happen to someone you know. So just always, because Jamaicans have that style, and my business. Make it your business. This is affecting a lot of people, and maybe one day it could affect you. I hope not. So, thank you for the support.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alicia. So we're gonna see her character, and your character, his name is Rang, right? Okay, so I don't want to give away much more than that. So just look out for Rang. Do we have any other cast members in the house before we go ahead and start? Roseanne, anybody else
Ah,
in the audience?
they were here. I don't know where they went.
Okay, they're roaming the property. But all right, so we are gonna hear more about it. Do we have a trailer? Yeah. So we're gonna show the trailer in a few seconds, or a minute or so. While we wait on that, so I'm just gonna acknowledge, along with Alicia Walker, who you just saw, we have also starring Akela Sims. She plays Padma. We also have Teresa Reynolds. She plays Tony. We have Shelly Ann Hurd. She plays Jessica. And we have Patrick Wildman, who plays Shackle. We have Roseanne Lawrence, or Lady Who Wears Many Hats. She's also in the film, as she mentioned, and she plays Maggie. Breezy, and he plays Doc. And we have Sabrina Thomas, she plays Padma's mom. And we also have Boyd Grant, he plays Grim. All these names, you hear these names? Um, we have Hard Drive, and he plays Mr. Burns. And then we also have Nakelia Matthews and Shani Shields, and they also play smaller roles in the film, but we want to just big up every single one of them, everybody who's in this production. A huge congratulations to you. We're gonna see them in action very shortly.
go to the beach. Alright? The beach for clear. Okay. Hustle.
Right. So I thought it was going to be a trailer, but what we got was a teaser. Why you were teasing us, right? So that was just a taste of the actual film. Correct? Right, Roseanne? Yes. Okay. So how are you guys feeling? Are you feeling intrigued? You want to see what's coming up next? I mean, if that was my one house, I know I couldn't get rid of that. So I'm very interested to see what happens to Padma. Um, so in every production, we have the ones that we see on camera, but then there are also the ones that we don't see. They're the ones behind the scenes making the magic happen. And so I just want to acknowledge Dwayne Whitaker. He's our editor. The composer goes by the name DP. The writer of the story is Larissa, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get the pronunciation of this right, but I'm going to try. Matthew Levicius, or Levicius. Larissa is her first name, and she's the writer. The production designer is Roseanne Lawrence, and our director, of course, is Stewie. We've been waiting on Stewie, but I think we are probably going to go ahead and show the film. So now that you've gotten a little taste, we're going to go ahead and continue. You've gotten to know who the people are on camera, and you've heard a little bit about the ones behind the camera. So we're gonna wheel and come again, and we're gonna start from the top. And yeah, how long is the film? 30 minutes. Okay, so it's now 6:04. So for the next 30 minutes, we will be watching stars filmmaking. Enjoy.
School starts Where are you going? To the beach. Alright? The beach for clear. Okay. Awesome.
Sis, you smell the apple tree? You got my policy for me?
I'm going to get old on them. I'll text Jessica.
Jessica, who you want to talk about so? What the can't teach us so?
Supposed to meet her today. I'm not sure if I'm going to show her meeting this dude. Jessica, what dude? Yes, some girl who shit on online.
I'm just a friend of this. Yeah, keep things from me. It come bigger man now. That's a girl.
What's your Maggie?
No, it come bigger man. So you and her go. I'm going to take some fun out.
What's Rocky?
Abandoned
Abandoned beach.
That's right, you sure?
Yes, sir. Again. He wants to meet here because the beach is miscarried to me.
All the other beach never before. You go there?
So she always doing some creepy places.
That's true.
And then go there.
You're an African costume. That's true. Alright, let me go to the pharmacy then. You have to call me now.
What do you call him again?
But know how you stay. You love text and you love call. You have to call me.
What do you mean to call you?
Alright, later.
Alright, so I go take the way you go me. No what you mean. No the way you go grip. Whoa. I like you so. Honestly. This is giving my type of vibe.
Why the place looks so creepy?
Everything creepy to you.
Why so empty?
I'm not walking in front of this avenue that's Freddy. You can't afraid so. No,
Jessica,
so.
listen. Why you came here so? How the place look?
Everything creepy to you. Hey, what am I gonna know? Come on.
You don't care about that?
Everything creepy to you, so? Sure. I'm not like Freddy. Come on. Sure. And you honestly like on my nerves the last 1 minute. Look at the beach nice. Look at the beach for the cool breeze.
Yeah, you get my message? Yeah, she could have a friend. No, change up that. No, man, no, you. We call it back, yeah?
Hey! Who are you? We used to go same school, right?
Oh, yeah.
I found this in the sand. Are yours?
Yeah, I might want this though. Thank you.
These are about 5 times already today. What's taking him so long?
Oh my gosh, mom is just coming for him.
I better get going then, I guess.
Alright, girls, so you say him there on the front part.
So we're supposed to walk to meet him now?
Chris.
May I go? Which part may I go?
So, could I go to the meeting?
Fine, probably not that far. I wanna go. Other way they were supposed to go. Come on, man. Yep, that is Fort Rocky.
Showtime. Shut up! Yeah, so remember the way that because it's long, about 7 years. Hard. You know what I mean? But one for the sure, so we're hard, it's hard. Really, I can keep on strong. Really pleased with this one. You can harvest all our harvests inside that big. All right. Shut up! Jessica! No problem. One in the share room, the other 2 days a week. And Doc is here ready for breakfast. No problem. Good. All right then. Okay, we'll see you in the meeting. All right. Check around so you can understand. Yeah, bye. There you go, please.
If I'm in danger, please help me. Thank you so much. I have to get help from my friends that have done it. Are you alright? What's happening? I kidnapped me, please. I have to get help, please. Okay, let's get help. Calm down. Everything will be alright. We're going to get help now. Everything's going to be fine. No. Don't go that way. Please don't go that way. They're down here, please. Shut up. Stop it. I can't believe Shaka. This is how you treat my merchandise? Almost lost money. Shut up. What's going on here? Careful with my merchandise.
Yes, ma'am.
Really? Not worth that much at eating first. How good of you. Let me make sense. Jason? That was so even damage my merchandise.
It's a good time.
No.
You're so pretty. Too perfect for the Jones. You're so pretty. I'll make a good thing. She's so petite. Not bad. She's petite though. All that woman to be more this is going to be us.
have the money? Ah, perfect. You can do the transfer, right? No, no, no. Never mind. Let's switch to question. Always like to this works best for us here. So I'll meet you later and we'll do the exchange. Sounds perfect. Alright then. Bye.
Come in. Come in. Go around this somebody. Eh? Yeah, what do you want me to look like you left in front of that boss? I got one. Not copying that bill on you. What do you want? That's your boss. Ready to transfer.
When you think I'm lost, you think I'm lost in pain, you think I'm lost in love, you think I lost my head in the rain. I'm running from trouble, my problems really double, my love is trying to get me covered, get me from the traps of the devil, my sister come right now, my president is my start of vision. When you think I'm lost, you think I'm lost.
Well, well, well. Let's give it up for Stars. Feel my pain. One more time. Man, there are so many things coming out at me. Watching. Sorry. I think we get some feedback here. Are we good now? Yeah, I think. All right, let's push through. So even though I read the script before it was on screen, still there was so much element of suspense. Okay, okay. Is that better? How are we doing? Yes. Good, good. Yeah. So, how do we feel? What are some words that come to mind for first impression? Just shoot them at me. Words. Any words that come to mind. Just shout them out. Traumatizing. Exciting. Oh, anxiety. Okay, yes, anxious. Scary. Informing, yes, informative. Any other words come at you when you any first impressions? Shocking. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think all of those resonate with most of us here. And you know what I love about the film is that a few things. I'll just list a few of my favorite things. I love that you get to see everything taking place in spaces that look familiar. Like it's Jamaica. So we get to see what it could possibly, what something like that could look like here, right? So that's one thing I love. But I also love, you guys saw how, as Alicia came up and spoke earlier, um, the bad guy does not look like a typical bad guy, right? Or the mastermind behind all of the that evil has many faces. Yes, some of them look like the typical bad man, whatever, whatever. And then you also have a woman that looks like a businesswoman who's just conducting business with her merchandise, right? So you had that as well coming out. And then the young ladies that went through this, these are girls that look like our sisters or daughters or cousins or nieces, right? Everyday looking girls. And these are some of the things that are really happening. So I just want to congratulate the team for this project. And we know that Stars is really, it's a three-part series, right? Three-part series. So the this is our first draft of the first part. It's a four-part series, sorry. And so you guys know that this is just the beginning of greater things to come. So you guys are witnessing the beginning stages of greatness. And I just want to big up the actors. Didn't they do a good job? Just give them a round of applause, please. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And I think I saw one of them come in when we were showing the film. And so, without further ado, I want us to dive into the panel discussion that we're going to have. And I want you guys to prepare any questions that you may have as they speak. Think about whatever questions you may have. This is a very open and safe space, and I want us to all engage in the conversation. But we're going to be hearing from two very special women, and I'm going to introduce you to them really quickly, but you'll also hear from them yourselves. And so, firstly, to my left, well, they're both to my left, but to my direct left, you can still hear me, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, so to my direct left, we have Stacy Bailey, right? Stacy is Jamaican, but she's based in New York, and Stacy completed her undergraduate degree in psychology at Mount St. Mary College in Newburgh, New York. and then she did her graduate degree in social work. So she has that pairing of psychology and social work. And she has been working with youth and families for over 15 years. Okay, she primarily works with population. But when you see her, you'll never guess that. Okay, you would never guess that. But it's just to show her years of experience in this field. And so she's worked with victims of domestic violence, youth, families, adolescents, and young adults, right? She enjoys working with all age groups and genders, and she enjoys providing individual, couples, and family therapy. She has worked with individuals presenting with behavioral concerns, anxiety, depression, self-esteem issues, and life transitions. So, as you can imagine, anyone who's ever been maybe a victim or who has been affected by anything like what we've seen here, anything similar to trafficking or any other form of victimization, Stacy would be more than qualified to help those people to recover from what they've gone through. And so we'll hear from her. And then to my left is another Stacy. Yes, believe it or not, they're both Stacy. So we have Stacy-Ann Smith. And Stacy-Ann Smith is the founder and CEO of Pursued International Foundation, which is a non-profit charity in Jamaica with with a tripartite, so it's tri-focused, and that's on education, advocacy, and support. So Pursuit International, it's a foundation that focuses on education, advocacy, and support through awareness, campaigns, mentorship and counseling, skills training, and business startup support carried out by an alliance of professional women. The group seeks to connect at-risk women and girls with a network of mentors. Stacy-Ann engages with commercial sex workers in one of Kingston's trafficking hotspots. And she has also worked with commercial sex workers and at-risk youth in the United States and Southeast Asia. So Stacy has had extensive experience working with women and girls who are highly at risk of being trafficked. And so we'll hear from Stacy. She's also the former Dean of Discipline at Immaculate High School and is an associate counseling psychologist, a speaker, and an award-winning writer. She's an inspirational columnist for the B.O.M.B magazine, so you guys can check that out. And she's also a podcaster. She's the host of Constant, Faithful, Secure. So you guys, all these things I've listed, Pursuit International, the Beyond Woman magazine, and Constant, Faithful, Secure, that's the name of her podcast. I want you guys to welcome both of our Stacys at this time. Thank you. You guys are nice, right? Yes. Okay. So we're gonna jump straight into it. Let's see if we can hear from you guys, and so you can say. All right. Yes. We can hear. Can you guys hear them?
Can you hear them properly? Hello.
Hello. Yeah. They don't.
Yeah. We can hear you. You can hear me? Okay. Alright. You guys can see individually what being here represents and where you can. Quick. Ah, give back feet to this man. Give back feet to this man. Ah,
Yes. Okay. All right. So we're gonna hear from the same one. All right. So we're gonna hear from Stacy Bailey first.
I know you asked what it. Hello, everyone. Good night.
good night.
I am so happy that I was able to be here. So I am from Jamaica. Went to school in Jamaica. So I went to school in Jamaica. I went to Trenchtown Primary and St. Hugh's High. I don't know if there's anyone in here went to St. Hugh's, or is it just me? I'm the only St. Hugh'ser. Okay, all right, no problem. But I was so happy to be able to be here when Stewie told me that he was doing this film, because this is something that I've worked a lot on in the States. I currently work with a program that's called Mental Health Juvenile Justice, and so we work with a lot of kids, teenagers mostly, who are being trafficked or who are, at risk of being trafficked. And so we work in the court system because a lot of the times, if the story is not being told, that youth will be the one that faces charges and not the actual person who trafficked them. So I'm so honored that I have the ability to have that voice in court for these youth. So being here tonight, being able to be a part of this, to be able to answer any questions, give any pointers, anything that I know, because like we said, it's not just something that happens in the States or overseas, it's happening here. It's happening in many small islands. So to be here and be able to really just kind of tell you guys what I know and just kind of share experiences and just help each other out, very, very honored to be here. So thank you for having me tonight.
All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. All right, I'm okay. All right, so my name is Stacy-Ann. I have been working in the area of trafficking for the past 5 years. I wrote an article about human trafficking in Southeast Asia, jumped on a plane to support them as a therapist to provide counseling for victims who were rescued. I came back home and I began to, in the wrong location. Right. Good now, good. And so after spending a few 9 months between Bali, Cambodia, Vietnam, and seeing the issue there, I came back home and felt challenged to do something in my own country. And like many of you, I had no idea it was happening here. But once I got more and more involved with the research and began doing street outreach to commercial sex workers and trafficking hotspots, I realized how bad the issue is here. And so my organization does work to raise awareness. So I'm glad to have this film. I saw all the risk factors and indicators. So I'm looking forward to the discussion. And we also do support for commercial sex workers who want to get off the roads. They're no longer vulnerable for trafficking. So I look forward to the discussion this evening. And, let's get jumping. All right.
While you're there,
While I'm here. Yes, yes.
what is trafficking?
All right. So human trafficking has to have three elements: act, means, and purpose. Act, what is done? Recruiting, harboring, finding out who they are, finding out where they are, letting them know what we're doing, and then the means. So they harbor them. So the person who is just there holding them, that person is guilty of trafficking. So we're doing one aspect of trafficking. The person who transported them, that's one act of trafficking, the transportation. The person who is doing the cutting, yes, that person is also guilty of trafficking. And the last part is the purpose, which is exploitation. So trafficking has to have act, what is done, means, how it's done, and the purpose, what it is done for. Now, one quick caveat. If you are under the age of 18, all they have to prove in a court of law is act, recruiting, tricking, using abuse of power to get you for the purpose of exploitation. They don't have to prove how it's done, harboring, anything else. Once the act is done and the purpose, and it's a person under the age of 18, so children, then that is considered child trafficking. So it's different for children.
Thank you, thank you. So what we saw here, and I'm going to refer to the Stacy we just saw as Stacy Smith, and then the other is Stacy B. All right. So Stacy Smith shared about the definition of trafficking, and we see here another a form of trafficking. What would this form of trafficking be called? This would be, well, yeah, sure. Let's hear what they are.
So there were two forms in the film. Well, one I'm assuming is going to be happening. I'm assuming by the young lady describing her as pretty, sex trafficking is possibly going to be occurring with the other two ladies. But the other one I'm noticing her organs were being harvested. That's another form of trafficking. So you have organ harvesting and you have I'm assuming going to be sex trafficking happening eventually. But there are others.
And Stacy B, in your work with, teens and others who have been trafficked or who are at risk of being trafficked, can you tell us what some of those risk factors are and what the signs are of someone who could either be at risk or who have been trafficked?
So to what we have been seeing, when there are problems at home, and we all know that, home is not always perfect, especially for teenagers, right? They have their way, they want their way. If they don't get their way, then we have issues. But when those issues are left unresolved, then you see them kind of leaning more towards that negative peer group, right? So they're reaching out via internet, they're reaching out, through social media, they're connecting with individuals who present as safe, but they are not. And so that is one of those biggest signs. So, for parents, keep an eye on those kids when you realize that they're having some troubles, when they're having some issues. Keep that open line of communication going. Also for teachers, school staff, you want to make sure that they are aware of those risk signs as well, because you'll see the same things happening at home, you'll see that transfer over into school. And so you want to make sure that the teachers are educated on what those signs are so they can see that in the children that they're working with. So again, you'll see a lot of community issues, you'll see a lot of behavioral issues at home when they start acting out. Again, teenagers do what they do, but when it goes to completely left field, where they're just not listening anymore, or as in this video, she kind of walked out the house, slammed the door. She's kind of reaching more to say, I want the other parents. I don't necessarily feel like you're here for me. So when you see those signs, those are some of those red flags that we're looking for.
And in terms of, you were going to say, there's some other red flags that we can hear about those in other contexts. Because, yes, teenagers are often at risk. And in the film, teenagers were at risk. But we have other people who can be at risk. So Stacy Smith, can you tell us a little bit more about those red flags?
Sure.
See if your mic works or you want to go ahead. Let's go ahead with this one.
I like persons when we're talking to them, so I'm going to keep standing. So other risk factors include not just not having a good family, but also persons, women are one of the highest risk factors. We're the main victims, and between the ages of as I was saying, you're also looking at persons in poor poverty-stricken areas are at risk. Persons who are in a new environment or new country. So of course you're thinking, I leave my country, go somewhere else, I don't have much community, or persons who are watching out for me because they're taking note of that. They're also looking for persons who are in real desperate need for financial breakthrough, with some kind of a job, you need money. And so they're like, okay, you're going to be vulnerable to any kind of larger than life, really good opportunity. You're going to be at risk for, you're easy to deceive. You're desperate. Yes, thank you.
So, Stacy B, what are some things that we can actually tell teens, to help so that they can be more aware? As we saw in the film, these girls, well, one with Padma, she left on bad terms with her mom, just angry with her mom. She wanted to go breeze out on the beach. So that was her. But then these other two young ladies who seemed within the same age group, because they said they knew each other from school, they seemed unsupervised and just kind of doing their own thing, which I'm sure is the case with lots of young people, in our society. What can we tell them to help them to be more aware of their surroundings?
Okay. So okay. Some of the things that we try to tell our teens to really keep them aware of what it is that they're doing in their surroundings. Um, One, try to have an open relationship with your family, right? We know that it's a little bit difficult when you're a teenager to really be open and share with your family, but we try to tell them, just try to keep those lines of communication open. And same thing for the parents, right? Sometimes we're just so hard on them, we don't really hear what they have to say. So keeping the lines of communication open. Being aware that people are not always what they seem. Sometimes you meet people online, they seem really nice, that they're trying to help you, maybe give you money, maybe, open you to other opportunities. That's not always the case. Again, sharing those things with your family, with your friends. Another thing that we try to tell teens is let your family know where you're going. Sometimes you have the ones that kind of think they're a little bit grown, they don't want to tell you exactly where they're going with their friends, or they might not tell the truth. But at least put your location on your phone, share that information. There are some phones, parents, I'm not sure if you know this, there are some phones that you can actually have a phone inside of the phone. And what I mean by that is there's another phone number, there's another data service, everything, right? So if your child has that, then you can't really see. If you're a parent that checks messages, you can't really see what's happening. So that's another thing you really want to be aware of. So one of the biggest pieces is really communication. We tell our teens, listen, we know what you're going through. We've been through something similar, right? If you're a little bit older, you're gonna have the social media part when you're a teenager. But we've seen these other things. You've had friends that say, let's go here, and then you go somewhere else and you do something else. So you just want to make sure that they feel comfortable sharing with their family, where they're going, the people that they're talking to, the things that they're planning, keeping the lines of communication open. Knowing that they can also see a therapist. There's mental health providers in schools. There are people in churches, if that's where they go. There are people out here really trying to help them. So if that relationship at home is not great, don't feel like you have to push them into that, because you never know what that may lead to. Sometimes a family member can really introduce you to what we see on the screen today. So it's good to know that there are mental health providers, there's school support, there are a lot of people around that really want to help. Keeping the lines of communication open with safe adults, making sure that they know that there's safe spaces that they can enter and speak about whatever it is that's going on with them.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you so much. And I just want to highlight, in addition to what you've shared, I recall seeing in the news just this week. I think it was a 12-year-old girl who the article headline, which is all that I read, but the headline said something like, father was selling his daughter to a man from overseas and was collecting money from him for having sex with his daughter. And I just want to point out that something like that, guys, is defined as trafficking. If the father was exploiting his daughter and collecting money as a result of persons raping his daughter essentially, or having sexual relations with her. She's a minor, that is considered child trafficking, right? And so, yeah, we just want to let young people know that if you have family members or you know of anybody like that that's doing anything like that, and that is culpable for reporting. I mean, it's hard to think that you report your own family member, but we have to say it. You know, we have to let you know that your rights, basically, and you have the right to report something like that if you know of anything happening that's like that, right? So, yeah, one more thing from Stacy.
I'm sorry, as you said that, something crossed my mind. It's really important to pay attention to our kids and what they tell us and the things that they're uncomfortable with. Sometimes you may have family members or close friends that come around that you trust, but your child is telling you, I don't really like this person. I don't like when this person hugs me. I don't want to sit under their lap. I don't want any of those things. And you're like, no, come on, man. That's uncle, whatever, whatever. Give me a hug. No, trust your child. Trust your child if they're telling you that they don't want to do that, they don't want to give that hug. It's okay. Their body is their space, and we have to respect it no matter how old they are.
I feel like I deserve an applause. Yes. Yes, Stacy, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And so, Stacy Smith, in terms of recovery and steps to recovery, I mean, what could something like that look like once? And let's also speak about even like that process of rescuing or helping. I know we have what we call state operations. Um, but yeah, tell us a little bit about what that process is after we have found out that this has been happening to a victim.
Okay, so I know Jamaica, like you say, is not my business, but it is your business. And so one of the most important things to do is to know where you can report any suspected cases. Now, Jamaica just completed in association with the US what is called the National Screening Tool. And what I like about this tool is that they're not asking you to know every single detail. If you just know you saw a boy on this in New Kingston who's young, wiping windshield, and you can know he's on the side of the street by Devon House, and that's all you can say, they will take that information because that's a form of one of our cases in Jamaica. There were boys who were being forced to wipe windshields and they were being exploited. How? All the money they earned was being given to someone else. They didn't get a dime from it. That's one of our cases. So you see the boys by the stoplights, who you here with? Why are you here? Why aren't you at school? And you just call school and say, I saw a boy. I need to report this. You don't have to have all the details. The major places you need to know is ONRTIP, which is the Office of the National Rapporteur of Trafficking in Persons, NATFOTIP, National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, and you can also, if they're under the age of 18, you can also call CPFSA. And if all of those acronyms are too much for you to remember, just follow Pursue. We have all of them on our page listed, where you can report. And we don't mind reporting for you if you find out. Just DM us or message us on our website, and we act as a in between. Because sometimes it's not really comfortable to call the police itself. That's fine. We will do the calling for you, give us the information, and we will pass it on. So just know the signs, know the risk factors, follow groups that are talking about it so you can know what to look out for, and then either all of us a while ago, ONRTIP, NATFOTIP, or Pursuit International. You follow us, and we have on our page all the information about where you can report. Your next question was how to help them. Again, counseling. I don't know if as individuals, and if you are trained in the area of counseling, social work, psychiatry, if you necessarily are the person going to give them the one-on-one help. But they're talking about trauma, they're talking about PTSD, they're talking about even Stockholm syndrome, because one of the young ladies who was rescued by the National Task Force Trafficking in Persons, she was from Burma, and they found her emaciated and locked up in her room. She was forced to work from morning till night, and the male in the house was also sexually abusing her. And when they rescued her, she didn't press charges. So you're also dealing with Stockholm syndrome. She's going to want to report that she's being treated well. You could look at her and tell that she's not being treated well. But unfortunately, if she don't press charges, the government isn't going to do anything about the case, unfortunately. So all these kinds of things, I wouldn't recommend you, the individual, to do unless you're trained in. You can also find trained counselors in the country, and the government does provide counseling as part of the required services for victims who are rescued from trafficking. Stockholm syndrome is when a captive begins to develop fond feelings towards their captor because of the experience of being mistreated, but also being given things to take care of them, and they begin to identify with them and bond with them as a way of first survival and then eventually having feelings of understanding, I would say, towards them. Is that correct? So that they can also begin to identify with their cause, so to speak.
All right, we're getting there. I'm getting the hang of it. Um, and so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open the floor now to a couple questions before we close this discussion. Anybody would like to ask one of our Stacy's here? Any questions? Anybody? Floor is open. So the question is, what are the trafficking hotspots that we mentioned? What are some of them in Jamaica?
I'm gonna have them written down there about all of them. So back road in Portmore, St. Catherine, that's a hot spot. These are more for sex trafficking actually. So back road in Portmore, St. Catherine, the hip strip in Montego Bay, St. James, Ripon Road, right there, Crossroads, and truck stop in Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Those are the sex trafficking hotspots. As it relates to all the other types of trafficking, domestic servitude, forced labor, forced begging, it's all across the island. As a matter of fact, I interviewed someone about 2 years ago that said, I think he said, I don't know where I said from us, I can't reach tea. They actually had a market where they would sell people. It was like 2008, around that time. I'm not sure if, of course, you knew that place, but I interviewed somebody who was a part of the initial parts of exposing trafficking happening in Jamaica. And they had like a market, like where you go buy banana, mango, and them thing. Yeah, but it's humans. So exactly what is happening in these locations, I don't want to say with a certainty, but according to the Office of the National, all of those things, yeah, then people there, they say. So the thing is, I want us to get away from kidnapping because we stretching the thing is the only type. Sometimes there's an online situation where I come and I meet you and I begin to exploit you by every time you send me a picture, I ask for more and I threaten to expose you if you don't give me more sexual content. That is trafficking, but online. Okay, and the person hasn't left their room. Don't think I have to move you from spot to spot for it to be considered trafficking. Not the case. I can be at my house and my parents send people to do things to me. I haven't left my house because I'm being exploited. So when you think of trafficking, don't just think that you see in this film and it looks extreme. But there's a young lady who I watched who did that interview and her mother would say, go down the road to so and so and get some money to pay for the bills in the house. And when she get there, the man is expecting sex before he gives her money and mommy sent her down the road. That is also a form of trafficking. We have people being brought here from Haiti, from Guyana, from Colombia, and they're working in people's homes as helper. And oh, you see a helper? No, no. Her things have been taken, her documents have been taken, she isn't allowed to go to school, and in one case she was being forced to have sex with the man after she became of a certain age. So don't just think this when you think trafficking.
Thank you for that question. Any more questions from anybody else? What if the person who is being trafficked gave consent? Okay, hold on for the response, the answer.
But manipulation is the what. Remember what, the how, and the purpose. So in the definition, they include manipulation, abuse of power, gifts, use of authority. All of those things are in the definition. According to the law, you cannot give consent to be trafficked. So if I I go in the courtroom right now and say this man tricked me or manipulate me and then exploited me, he can still go to jail. He cannot give consent to be trafficked. By definition of the word, it includes the manipulation, it includes the trickery, it includes the deceit, it includes giving me gifts and making me feel like you love me because I have the boyfriend trafficking situation. That's also covered under the law. He can't go into the courtroom and say, but she said she loved me, so she would do it. Instead of jail. I just so.
But I think to add to that, we have to know that you have to be able to provide some form of proof with that piece as well. But I know you also had a question, correct? Or, I don't deal with the harvest.
What's the question exactly? I don't know exactly all the scenarios. I know some organ harvesting is to be able to sell good organs on the market. So it is a very in-demand thing to get a new lung or a new heart or a new any of those things. And there are people who go for surgical procedures. So there are people who can't afford to get it. How long? I'm assuming if you're a businessman, you know I have no idea in medical stuff, but I'm assuming it's a thriving business. They know how to ensure all the things happen the way it's supposed to happen. I don't want to know. I don't want to go into the business. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we touched on the boyfriend scenario because that is actually a very common avenue through which girls, particularly, experience sex trafficking. There's a woman who's Jamaican. She's a survivor of human trafficking. Her name is Shamir Mackenzie, and she gives her story a lot. And her story is that she was in the States, but she went away, and Shamir essentially ran into some challenges paying the rest of her school fee. And her boyfriend, this is somebody she was in a relationship for a long time with. Her boyfriend basically um, introduced her to the idea of dancing and getting some money for it. And eventually he continued to exploit her for that. And I mean, it got very abusive where this man changed like from night and day. You know, he abused her because eventually for him, she was just merchandise. And she was just bringing in his money. And that's all he cared about. And so, yeah, she managed to escape from that by the grace of God. But, you know, she talks a lot about her survival story. You can look her up. Her name is Shamir Mackenzie. Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody else? Before we wrap up this section? No? Well, if there are no more questions at this time, and not to worry, we still have the two Stacys in the house. They'll be here. So if you'd like to speak to them one-on-one, no problem. Also, just want to acknowledge Christina. Is Christina in the house? She's our public. Oh, you're Christina. So if anybody is feeling any type of, you know, they're feeling a little heavy from what we've been talking about and what we've seen, I just want to give a moment of just, you know, let's just pause for a second to just absorb all of that. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, we're in this, you know, very fun and engaging space, but the topic we're talking about is heavy and it's a lot. And so we just want to acknowledge that. And again, if you'd like to speak to someone to just work through what you're feeling right now, we have Christina, and she's just waving her hand. So that's Christina. You can speak with her at any point in time. Yes. So as we transition into the next thing, I just want to give a round of applause to our panelists. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you so much, ladies. You shared so much rich information. I learned a whole lot, and I'm sure our audience did. At this time, I also want to just say thank you to our sponsors of this event. I have not had a chance to mention them, which is a huge, it should not happen. So big ups to, first of all, I want to say thank you to Pinatas for hosting us. Thank you, Pinatas. And while you're here, you see this man here walking across. footer. Just show them, yeah, this is our, he's in charge of the bar. Make sure you get your cocktails from footer at the bar. Don't leave here without one. But we also want to give a special thanks to Artisan, and we also want to say thank you to Flavors of the Past. Flavors of the Past. Authentic Jamaican wines. You'll hear more about them. And a special shout out to Girls First, which is incidentally an organization that I spearhead, and I've been very grateful to be part of the research team for this film and for the script. And so, shout out to Girls First. All right, so we have not heard from Stewie. I think he was trying to escape. But before we hear from him, we're going to hear again from Roseanne. So hold on.
You did so lovely. I want to take it back from you. You did so well. These two lovely ladies, double Stacy's. I'm sorry, I don't remember the last name. And thank you very, very much. We do have a treat for our four special guests from Flavor of the Past Wine. It's about to come in the next little bit. We want to tell you guys thank you very much, and that is our treat for you guys. Then we're going to have, as you said, Stuart up here to give us a little chitty chat. Right, go right back to her.
All right, thanks, Roseanne. So, without further ado, I'm just going to call Stewie up here. So let's give him a round of applause. Woo, woo, woo. Stewie. So tell us about the film. I did, Roseanne. Roseanne put me on spotlight already.
You know, I just don't want to find out. You know, I'm honestly sorry. Just go down for a second.
Sorry.
I would offer you the royal seat, but
The royal seat is for the ladies, even though men are trafficked too. But you know, it was a ladies' movie, so let's keep the ladies in the royal seat. Anyway, I didn't get to show off all the ladies' outfits. Just remember that we have to do fashion too as well. Can you please show off your outfits? I'm so sorry for that.
I agree.
My outfit is vacation mode. I'm in vacation mode.
Nice. And come on, Miss Pursuit International, representing Chic with the. So everyone, make sure you go on all the socials and follow Pursuit International for more information on trafficking and the work that is being done in Jamaica. And Stacy Bailey, how can they get in touch with you?
So for me, I am on Instagram, your strengths, at whatever it is on Instagram. I don't really do it too much, but it's your strengths. I do have counseling, private counseling that I do. I am licensed in New York, New Jersey, Maryland, and Connecticut. So I do work with a huge group population. So that is where you can find me on Instagram at your strengths if you are looking for services or if you're thinking of, referring services to anyone in any of those states.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to hear from Stu. He's just going to kind of close us out essentially, tell us about the inspiration behind the film. Yeah. So, what was the motivation? Why you guys decided to even do this project? And what was the process like for you?
So, good afternoon. Very good night. Thank you everyone for coming out, showing support for this first chapter of Stars, and hopefully you enjoy it. And there's 3 more coming, hopefully early next year. We're looking to shoot all 3. We're looking to shoot all 3 by the end of the year and start releasing them at the top of next year. So if we can keep on schedule with that, that would be awesome. So, motivation? Because the story needed to be told. We see a lot of different movies, books, real life stories within the news and everything worldwide, not just locally. So with the research for this, it's literally like a year, right? Yeah, we did like a year of proper research. So even though this movie is fictional, the themes are all real. These are all inspired by some version of that story that happened somewhere. We just spun the tale to make it, a little more appealing to the eye, entertainment-wise. But all of these stories are real. So we wrap them up within the main characters, the villains and everything. But all of these stories happen, and a lot of them get swept under the rug. Like the one you just mentioned with the 12-year ago. We hear about that, then by next week, some other glamorous story come out about something happening, some racer get robbed, and everybody forget about it, and there's no follow-up, and there's nothing going on. So what we'd like to do, not just stars, but there we go. All right, so what we're looking to do with films that move um, is portray a lot of independent artists and creatives that are telling touching topics and touching stories. And we use this platform to get them out. This is the first venture out. It looked like it was successful. I loved it. Thank you. And we look to start a process with this. Hopefully, we get it to a once a month type of thing and just have these conversations going. Get people more comfortable on the island having mental health discussions. Because everybody has some kind of issues, some worse than others, and a lot of people don't know how to go about handling it, getting the right treatment if they think they need treatment. And these types of spaces create that conversation to happen. And you leave here with armed with ammunition to help someone else or yourself if necessary. So hopefully that is something, everybody can leave great with. And with Scars itself, we just want to have fun shooting movies, or not like it was fun. The research was deep, so we had to make sure to pay attention to not getting too lost in that. But when it was time to film, it was really, really fun, and everybody on set loves that. And our two lead characters, which is Teresa Reynolds, hiding somewhere in the back, and Kayla said she's not an actor right now. She's an actor doing some stuff. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so she's off the island doing some work, but their roles actually was a little draining after we got into like the third week of filming. Like we had to take a break so that we could recenter, come back, like it was they came to me with like too many emotions was going on, and it was too taxing. So just the fact that they committed from day one and then stuck it out, all the way through, whether we need to break or not, that they can have their mental space to get this done. The show to the level of commitment that they have for this thing. And hopefully we get all of these stories out from Stars, we start a bigger chapter going, and we just create this platform for other people, and those that move will continue to inspire, grow, and turn into a thing.
One more question for you. So, one last one. I know that you mentioned this how emotionally draining it was for at least two of the characters. But what are other challenges you faced in shooting, producing the film, and going forward? What do you need to make sure that those challenges are addressed for the future?
All right, so one of our biggest challenges was securing the proper funding so this story could get told properly. So that is where Artisan Fund came in. Renee Canel, really, really great businesswoman that's just a fan of artists. So she created this fund called Artisan, and they literally fund everything artists are about and want to do and how that needs apply. And for me, I'm on the board of the inclusive artist. So I was there when it first came up and everything. So we have a different program for the directors. So I was able to take advantage of that, and that's how we got the story started for Stars. And they've rebranded Artisan now, and it's now a curated project. So once a week we offer, and this is for all the independent creators out there. Once a week, hit them up on Telegram, with the website and everything, artisan.com or .org. You hit them up once per week. We give out $5,000 US for people looking to shoot, film, whatever. You put in, you apply, and if you don't get through the first week, you come back again. And you continuously go. Yeah, it's 5,000 US every week. And then every quarter there's a big fund where you give out $50,000 to 5 creators, and they can do whatever. And it's not just within film; it's any variation of art, VR, poetry, painting, whatever you want to do. And Another organization that I'm a workshop host, virtual workshop host with them, and also curator, and that's Art with Impact. They're the ones that sponsored the two short films we saw before, and they are an artist, another artist group, but all of their products that come out from the artists have something to do with mental health. They touch on some mental health topic, theme, story. So if you're looking to shoot anything in that type of scope, keep a one someone competition, and the winner of that gets $1,000 for the grand prize. And then each year we do a big project. We get it's supposed to be increased this year to 10 grand, and you have 4 to 6 months to use that 10 grand to shoot your film. But that one requires like proper pitches and the whole nine, synopsis, pitch deck, all of that put together. And once it's on a mental health topic, actually for the bigger one, they choose the two mental health topics you can shoot on, and then you write your pitch and create and send it in, and we decide who gets what from there. So I'm out here making decisions on, artists doing their thing. So we're looking to take these two platforms, artisan.org and artistimpact.org. So what we're looking to do is take this, it's already in the US and Canada pretty widely and popular. So we're trying to bring it into the Jamaican space, and then hopefully, across the Caribbean space, if we can grow, this market for that. Artisan.org and Art with Impact. So that's ARTIZEN, Art with Impact. So positive organizations, and they're totally about the artists. No bureaucracy, nothing else. So check them out, shoot your films, give them to us so we can screen them. And then, we have this conversation going. Again, you'll see some posts coming out when the next version of this is coming out. This will be our location. Big up to Pinatas, Kilachi, Puta, everybody. This is our spot. This definitely is us.
So in terms of challenges, any other issues you guys were trying to find locations, COVID, right? COVID, so many different things, right?
I think I was sick the whole year. I was sick almost the entire COVID with something. Um, some illness came, including catching COVID itself and everything. So the whole process was challenging. We had a lot of issues with post production, people, yeah, with editing, post production, posts are getting pulled onto bigger projects, and people deciding that they wanted to take the opportunities, reshuffle different people, different things, and just stay focused and try to make sure that the vision came out. So that was a big challenge getting that done. But the core team together, there, Rosa and Barista, SkiBlu without the way. So we make sure that we stayed on the ball and got everything done how we're supposed to when we needed to. That way this event here could happen. So the bigger aim of this right here is to bring awareness to the stars and what's going on in the future for it, and to start use this platform to bring in funding so that we can shoot better, cleaner, crisper, and bring way more quality product. Hopefully that's what the next chapter is. So our writer, we have a wide team on this. So obviously our cast is all Jamaican, or on screen. But our crew is coming from all over. Our writers from Brazil, our animators from Pakistan. We have the artists in Greek acting from Canada, Cali, and Israel. So Ina, she was a script. Yeah, she wasn't. I know she didn't even read the credits, but she was there for consultant on this, and she sent it back like 10 times. So the cast is wide, the crew is wider, and the story is strong. So you needed all of these help and all of the support to make sure that you got the properly and got told right. So I hope you guys were able to enjoy the film itself, and it inspired you in some way to, outside the
Thank you, Stu. That was impressive. You're off the hook. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, guys, you've heard it from Stu, and of course, if you want to contribute to the team and perhaps be part of this project going forward, be sure to hit up Stu, and you can also reach out to Roseanne, Miss Boss Lady. Yes, yes, let's give her a round of applause for all that she's been doing. Thank you, Roseanne. It's clear that Without you, none of this would be possible as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just before we close, I just wanted to maybe highlight any of the actors that I mean. So we saw Alicia earlier. Maybe we can have all of them come up just so we can see your face and we can give you a nice big clap in person.
We got our voiceover people too.
And our voiceover people, yeah, all the talent that we know is involved in the project. Just come on up so we can, see you outside of the screen. And yes, we just want
I
to
wanted a group photo with you guys too
say
as well.
thank you. Sure, no problem. So let's tap them as they come up. Um, you can just sing the name and the role that you play, and the voice that you are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to B.O.M Network and Stars. I'm happy and elated that I'm part of this project. I'm Tabitha Lindsay and I support with the voiceover and also from the song. The song Lost in Love is the theme film, the theme film, is the theme song for the film. And this is the
Hello again. I played Miss Ryan in the film. I won't traffic your organs.
I'm again. Good night, good evening. My name is Roseanne, and I play her sister, Maggie, in the movie. Repeat it, I hear you.
Hi everyone, my name is Teresa and I play Tony.
You guys remember Tony, right? All right, so no.
Don't mean to see the spotlight. We're have to see lovely ladies take a photo for us. And also the set from Flavor of the Past. We're going to give them some lovely wine as well. We have the lovely presenter here to come and present the wine as well. All right, I want to say thank you to you guys. Let her do that, okay? That's right, that's right. What do you guys do on
Alright, do it this way, guys.
I want to say thank you, lovely ladies again. Thank you very much. And as I said, we have spoken of our appreciation to you lovely ladies for enlightening us and giving us very, very good information on this issue. Okay?
lot of us might ignore the fact that our children are unsafe on the internet. So it's highlighting to us as parents, as older adults, we can be safe persons for our children, what we should be looking at. Because a lot of times we see our kids on their phone, we think, oh, they're just chatting to their friends. We're not so aware of all that danger that they might be opening up themselves to. We think as parents we provide them with food, clothing, and shelter. We think we're giving them all the love that they need. So you're telling us all the risk factors that they could be potentially exposed to. I think that was very eye-opening. I really appreciate that. So Stacy B, I'm going with that because we didn't get what the B stood for. Bailey. Bailey, there we go. Thank you so much for all the information that you gave us. In the field of psychology, a lot of times, when you think about the impact of our mental health, we're quick to run to the doctor for physical health. But when it comes to mental health, we don't appreciate all that is here. Yeah, so we appreciate you coming here and highlighting the importance of that. And of course, we cannot forget our eloquent moderators. Stephanie did a wonderful job. She kept us engaged at all times. And, it's not an easy job. People think, oh, she just sit down up here chatting. But it really takes a lot of work to carry on conversations, especially on this team. You did that very eloquently. All right. And so, with that, I just want to say it's been a pleasure. And thank you all. And have a great night. Make sure to continue to follow the work of B.O.M Network and Films That Move. And thank you again. It's my pleasure being here with you today.